Warning, warning, warning. This show contains adult content, so viewer and listener discretion is advised. It is time for another episode, which is 138, about resilient rebels. And I'm really excited about this one. I want to get you guys off to a good start. First of all, we're not driving in my pickup truck. We're actually just sitting in my mobile studio in the dark. So there's no background noise of me driving down the unforsakable tax roads that aren't being repaired, that are bouncy as shit, with everything bouncing, nuts and bolts and everything cracking around here. But anyways, I'm in a good mood, and I want to talk to you guys about some of my experiences about gaining freedom, how I think that you guys should start practicing being a resilient rebel. And first of all, what is resilient? You know, there's a lot of talk about sustainability. Sustainability is like when we can reach a certain area and then we can sustain it, and it just kind of flat lines, and we're able to sustain like that altitude, like a plane flying. I like resilience a lot better because it's like the definition of, say, like an example is a rubber band, something that can be stretched, pulled, bent, and that can easily fix right back to its original form. And I think in this day and age, with this COVID stuff going around and all of these changes, even without the COVID stuff, we always have problems, you know, never quite to this scale, but we need to learn nonetheless to be resilient. And we need to learn how to rebel against our systems that are in place. Our systems suck. There's all kinds of things that we can all do as individuals. And I am living proof. I hope that you are too. If you are, share down at the links. There's upandinitshow@gmail.com. Send me some of your stories. Let me know how you're doing. We need to unify. We need to unite. We all need to inspire each other. I think we need to share information out there so that others can rebel and be resilient as well. So that's the name of the show tonight. So let's get on with it. Welcome to another edition of Up and In It. I'm your host, Adrian Babashoff, and if you're new here, welcome as well. And if you're wondering what the show is about, it's entirely dedicated to improving quality of life for both people and planet through liberation and independence, moving you from surviving to thriving and living life raw. So gaining of freedom, I think, in the resilient rebels realm, I think I'm going to name if I ever name my show again, it's going to be something like that, like Resilient Rebels, the Resilient Rebel. I think that's what it's all about. It's all about gaining freedom, as I said, and doing things against the grain, coming up with your own systems, and living a better life, improving quality of life. And we need to do stuff different. I don't know how much to say about that our environment, ourselves, our children, our spirituality, our money, our education, our general well-being is not working out too well, you know, unless you start rebelling and not following suit and listening to what the systems and the people and what the herd mentality is doing. You get to live a life of freedom. Like for me, I get to work whenever I want to. You know, I've designed my life where I have plenty of backup money. You know, I've got right now, as of this day here, this is, by the way, third week of December 2020. If I wanted to, guys, I could just sit here for like 3 years, probably, maybe more. I've got enough money for gas, food. I'm not going to be eating sushi and steaks. I'm not going to lie to you. I wouldn't be able to do that, but I'd be able to live very comfortably. Me and my two kids, and we'd be able to just sit here and coast. Am I going to do that? No, because I have lots of other plans that I want to do. But I want to convey to you guys that having that in your back pocket, having that into your plan, having that implemented into your life definitely brings freedom. It brings you that when you wake up in the morning, you're aiming yourself towards something that you want to do. You have the money behind you. You have a backup. You can easily just say, you know what? I don't think I'm going to do anything today. You call the shots. You decide what you want to do, you don't want to do. And definitely, I would say, during hard times and weird times like we're experiencing now, having that backup is definitely a stress reliever and a huge part of my freedom. Once you get something, a backup plan, and you get these systems all in place for yourself, the sky is the limits. There's just so many things. I think that's what gets me so excited and so motivated, especially to do these shows, is that I've got so much stuff that I want to do, and so many things that are happening for myself, where life just keeps getting better and better and better every single year. For those of you who are new and haven't really looked into me, and I think you should to find out if I'm full of shit or not, I usually take my kids. This had been my 6th year, I believe. I stopped counting because I really don't give a shit. But for the past 3-4 years, I sacrificed this last year this year 2020, because I wanted to get a new business started, and a good thing I did because of this whole COVID thing. But 4 years prior to that, me and my kids, my 2 daughters, would get inside this vehicle, what I'm sitting in right now, and we would take off for 2-3 months and just go driving up the Pacific Coast Highway. I live here in Sunnyside, California, North San Diego County, by the way. But we'd get in my truck and we would just drive way up to where the redwoods are. I have a couple little spots that we go camping at, where it's the middle of nowhere, where there's no cell reception, no nothing. We can fish, get firewood. We live out of my truck, and we would just go for hikes and just stay at a place as long as we want. I call them mini retirements. I work pretty much 8 to 9 months. I'd say more accurately, all the days and times that I take off to go fishing or go camping with my kids locally, beach days and stuff like that. I probably work more like 7 to 8 months out of the year, and I take the rest off. I've designed my life so I'm able to do things like that. So I don't want to ramble off too much about that, but you guys, I am inspired, and I put some YouTube videos up. My first year sucked. I think that was 2017 or 2000. Yeah, I think it was 2017 when I started doing this, these mini retirements. And I got a brand new iPhone 10. And when I switched everything over, I lost all my footage. They were supposed to transfer all my photos and everything, so I didn't really have the footage that for the first year. But it was, oh my God, it was immaculate. But I do have a few of the other years, and they're posted on YouTube, and there's stuff on Instagram, all that up and in it. But yeah, the other thing I'd like to say about resilient rebels is that when you live the lifestyle that we do, see, I want you guys to come on this side of the fence, man. When we have all of this shit going down right now, we've designed our lives so that we're minimally affected. I wouldn't say we're completely unaffected. I'd say I would definitely like to grow more of my own food. If the supply chain shut down, all this crazy horse shit that they're saying out there happened, I'm not really prepared to do all that. I'm pretty good on producing my own energy. I produce a lot of my own food. I do a lot of different things. Got, as I said, plenty of the monetary system for me is really absolutely perfect. It could be better, but we're definitely really, really good. And it's times like this with the tools and things that I have and the knowledge that we're minimally affected, man. And no matter what gets thrown at us, I think we always have a way. We're always developing new things, adding new things, perfecting things, being resilient. And I really feel bad because I know that a lot of people are hurting right now. I know a lot of people are going to hurt. And that's why I'm coming out here for the rest of the year, man. I want to give out some information to the best that I can to hopefully help people and show them that living by the example, like the things that I do, that you wouldn't have to suffer either. A lot of things you kind of should have implemented if you are suffering a year, 2 years, 3 years ago. It takes time for things to develop. They don't just happen overnight. As I always say on the show, we didn't get here overnight. We sure as hell ain't getting out of here overnight. But it's never too late to start. And you want to start aiming yourself, whatever you're doing, to be minimally affected when we have problems like this. Self-designed versus being designed is my next note here. And I guess that's what a resilient rebel does is like myself, I got really tired of watching what's going on around me, trying to learn from other people. A lot of things that I do, there's no manual, there's no book. I think for each individual that our lives are very different. We all have different needs. So it's hard for us, for somebody to write a book or put like a course or a class and like teach you. I'm hoping that the examples that I give you, the philosophies and stuff, that people would listen and kind of go, how can I incorporate that into what I'm doing? Something like it. Maybe not exactly what I'm doing, but you can kind of see from example. And it stems out from knowing that you're being designed. And I think a lot of this comes from social media. It comes from public education, our parents. There's a lot of things I'll give you, for instance, like that I've learned from a few people like Robert Kiyosaki, Grant Cardone, a lot of different these tycoons, these real estate investment people, and just learning about money. And a lot of them were saying that this is ridiculous. You're going to be poor because you're listening to most of us what your parents say. Save money, go to college, buy a house, and they go, this is the wrong thing to do. This is what buries you into debt and screws you up. Do I 100% follow it? No, I don't really 100% follow anything. But when I thought about it, that debt is leverage, and I still don't understand the entire game there, but it opens my eyes as I'm hoping that the things that I tell you opens your eyes. And I look and I say, my goodness, when I look at a lot of the elders around me and a lot of the people who did do the thing where they went to college, bought a house, not all, but they got married and their marriage fell apart. They're broken and brittle. They're old. They're stressed out. They hate their jobs. I think some of them are okay with their lives, but it's a really scary deal. I think that it's very simple to try to look and see, if someone's happy. I've said this many, many times. If this is the road to success, the American dream and the systems that are in place, and you look at the majority of people around you and how they're functioning or not functioning, it's a pretty scary thing. So I would say to consider designing yourself instead of being designed. And one size does not fit all, as I said earlier. I think that as you develop your own resiliency and you rebel, I think each one of us individuals is going to create our own things. In fact, I know that we are. One thing that excites me about this show is that if people start to come together like a community and start learning from each other, I think that we can build something really, really great. I've spoken to some really, really cool people who've done things like permaculture. I know some older fellows who do they're studying perpetual motion to make, it's their obsession for like making electricity and things, but they've got all this crazy little knickknacks and things they've invented and ideas. Like to tell you guys about my mini retirement, I thought I was original, that it was my own idea, and I guess it's actually called the mini retirement. So I'm not the inventor of the mini retirement, for those of you who think so. I came across a friend of mine, and I was telling him how I would like, I work in roofing construction mostly, and the summers suck, especially here in Sunnyside, California. It's hotter than shit. So I was like, man, I'm thinking about just working a little harder so I could take a few weeks off. And my buddy told me we were camping, and he says, yeah, I got a friend who he actually marks how much money he needs. He knows that when he makes a certain amount, he's got all his bills paid. He knows how much taxes he's going to pay. He gets all his taxes, the money he needs, the third that he's got to pay to the IRS. He has that in the bank. He puts the rest of the money away in a fund account, and then he just goes camping. He's a single guy, got divorced, no kids, but he just goes riding his motorcycles in the desert and camping and up in the mountains and everything. And I sat there and I was all, wow. I never really thought about getting the finances in order like that. So I learned a lot. So that's what I'm saying is like one size does not fit all. And that's all I heard. I just heard that little bit from that guy, and that inspired me to set up my mini retirements in the exact same thing. Get your finances all set up. Know how much money you're going to have to put aside for the IRS. Know that you need some emergency funds, things like that. Get that all set up, all planned out. Ghost expenses, for those of you who haven't been following me, you need some extra money just in case you get a flat tire, or just ghost expenses are things that you can't foresee. So get yourself all set up, and then you don't have to worry about nothing. You can just coast. Domesticated versus wild, I think. I think that's one big problem in our society, besides public education and all these things, is that a lot of people are domesticated. They're domesticized. And they're too scared to sit down on the ground in the grass because they get their brown, their beige little khakis dirty. I wouldn't say just men. I would say men and women, like we're all humans. As I say on the show, human up. But I'm not really seeing too many humans out there. And I think we're getting roboticized. I think we're getting programmed. We're getting designed. And a lot of people don't have the true feeling the true adventure of just being wild and just going for it, just getting crazy. You know what I mean? You don't have to really get crazy, you know, riding bulls and jumping through fires and things like that, although it helps. But no, there's a lot of us wild people. Now we just don't give a shit, man. We're not domestic. You cannot put us in a cage. You cannot harness us. You cannot put a leash on us. We'll chew through the leash. We're just wild. And I think a lot of people are losing their wildness. And it's fucking boring, quite frankly. Go out there, be wild. Let yourself go, man. Go run through the forest and go swim in the ocean. Go take your clothes off in the middle of the night and go lay in a stream under the full moon and fucking howl to the sky, you know, and just do whatever the fuck that you can. Rewild yourself. I think we're a dying breed, man. And that's where the freedom's at. Rebel, man. Be resilient. Be you. Be happy. We have a choice. I'm going to move to that one next. I'm going to skip one. You guys realize that we do have a choice, right? There's not like most everything that's happening is done to you, done to me, because we have allowed it to be so. We've listened. They've told us that this is what's going to happen. Or things happen and we were just too ill-planned. Maybe you could blame it on your mom or your dad. Maybe you could blame it on society or blame it on the internet or blame it on Hollywood or whatever. You just weren't raised right or you just didn't have the chance. We all have a choice. We all have a chance. There's so many things out there that we can learn from this is one of the best times to ever fucking be alive. Anything that you want to learn, man. There's podcasts and there's YouTube videos and there's books. There's more books and more how-to things, more inspiration, I think, than there has in human history, as far as what I can tell right now. But you have to take the choice. You have to make the choice, rather. You have to know that you have a choice. I think a lot of people don't even know that. They don't even know. You could pick up and move. You could start from scratch again. You could build yourself back up. Or are you going to continue doing the job that you fucking hate? You're going to continue doing the things that you fucking loathe. Or would you rather start from scratch and start something that really fills your heart full of joy, and when you wake up in the morning, it's the first thing you want to do? Why not take that chance? Why play it secure for the rest of your life? This is your life, and you have a choice. Know that you do have a choice. So, talking more a little bit about the wild, there was Toby Hemingway who wrote The Permaculture City. It's about natural, permaculture, farming with nature, gardening with nature and stuff. This guy was a professor, I think. He was very well educated. And one of the things he said was, it hit me really, really hard, really inspired me. And what he said is there used to be hill people. And basically what happens, I think the Latin name of a landlord is actually, the definition in Latin means a grain keeper. A grain keeper would look at a piece of land, and that was most of the currency, I guess, back then. He dominated the land, and people would come and rent the land from him to grow wheat and things like that, grains. So when the landlords were able to go around and on flat land, they could visually look and they can quantify, like, this is an acre of land, or this amount, this is probably how much grain we're going to get. And slowly by slowly, the powers that be would run people like that. They can mathematically tell. But then there was the wild people who lived up in the hills, the hill people. And they would grow things all over the place. So the governments, the system, the powers that be would try to measure what these hill people are doing so they can tax them, right? So they would stand at the top and look down, stand at the bottom and look up, stand at the sides, and they just couldn't do it. It was just so much trouble. They just said, you know what, screw it, just leave them alone. We got more important things to do. This is just too crazy. So the hill people knew this, and that's how they gained freedom. That's how they were resilient. That's how they rebelled. So I thought it was a really, really cool story to kind of slip into what we got here today. I think when you start realizing your freedom and you start being resilient and you start rebelling, as I said, we're a dying breed. There's not a lot of us wild people out there left. And I think it could be pretty scary for people. But I'm here to tell you, with most things, when you embark on new voyages, when you do new things and there's nobody else around you that's doing those things and you're ultimately all alone, I think at first it could be scary. And I speak from experience of doing things completely, totally, and entirely different, and being treated bad, being looked at as a weirdo. But you know what? The gaining of freedom, the resiliency that I have, especially in times right now, where I think most people are stuck in the aesthetics of things and not the functionality. You know, one thing I'd like to ask some of those people who look down their nose at me now is how does that car taste? You know, how does all this, what's the flavor in your fucking soul's mouth right now? Huh? I don't want to pick a fight or talk shit to people, but a lot of people who think that they had their shit together, I think it's kind of hitting the fan right now, and I don't think they're doing so well because they put their eggs in the wrong basket. So I don't want to beat up that too much about people talking shit and treating you bad and everything. It comes with part of the way of being a resilient rebel. You know, I think I'm definitely annoying to certain people around my close life. And I know that they don't like my lifestyle. In fact, maybe I'm an embarrassment to some of them. Driving an old 96 F-350 pickup truck, you know, they're just like, oh God, that's embarrassing. Look at this big old ugly white camper on here with a solar panel and hot water heater. And, you know, who's this hillbilly? But when you start to release from everything, I think life gets good. It's like a bomb, you know, you have to decide that you need to do what you want to do. You want to live the life that you want to live. And it's like when a bomb goes off, there's always shrapnel, right? There's parts of the bomb that went off, little pieces of metal, and it threw debris. And as you progress, every once in a while, you're going to stumble across these debris, this shrapnel. And that's what I call the shrapnel effect. And as you just keep cleaning these things up, dealing with these little shrapnels, these are, you know, little thoughts that come in your head, all kinds of different things from going against the grain, you know, and gathering your own strength. All these little tiny problems and kinks that you run into, as you start cleaning up the shrapnel around you, if that makes any sense, life gets better and better until I believe one day it's very rare that you ever come across a piece of shrapnel. You're about the old system, the old design that you used to be. You actually forget. You become very happy. You become very wild. And you forget what it is to be scared to sit on the grass because you don't care if your plants get dirty. You don't care what people think about you. And then the shrapnel is when you see people looking at you strange and you're like, what is that look? What is going on? Oh, I didn't shave for a week. I got a hole in my shirt. I'm rolling around in the grass with my kid, laughing and throwing flowers at her and putting, you know, just acting silly like little animals, acting like gorillas because we're free. And you forget every once in a while and go, oh, others aren't. But I guess my point in closing here is that living free, living wild, living like a wild animal is the most vigorating and fun thing that you can do in your life. And start now, start playing. Fuck this system, man. That's all I have to say about that shit. I don't want to make this thing negative, but the systems that we got going on, as I said, we got to do new stuff. People are almost dead. People are fucking almost dead. And where are the alive people? Go out there and be alive. So if you like this sort of thing, guys, it's up and in it. You can check it out on YouTube, Spotify, Apple iTunes, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. And as I always say, guys, go out there and have yourself a near-life experience. Carry on the fire. Don't lose your muchness. Human up. Live it, love it, own it. And bone it, my friends.